one of the things that struck me about their relationship is that it started off in a very kind of positive space. Truman Capote
Yeah.
was what, 17 years younger, maybe 13 years younger,
Yeah.
but they had,
Uh-huh.
it was more
Uh-huh.
than a decade apart. It's of age, but they came of age as writers about the same time. Kind of gaining that fame. And at the time, they were
Mm-hmm.
friends. They absolutely adored each other. They vacationed together. They hung out together. And then over the years, the jealousy and the insecurities of which they both talk about very honestly in their writing, which was really blew me away, that they were both so honest about the jealousy that consumed them and kind of like ruined their friendship. Let's talk a little bit about that, about the frenemy of
Yeah.
of of
The,
Truman and
the
Tennessee.
yes, the frenemy aspect was quite strong. So Truman was 16 when he met Tennessee, and
Hmm.
he of course they both really came to fame about the same time, and
Hmm.
Truman was always, it was important for him to have the celebrity, and of course the celebrity became very much part of his persona and something he identified with. And I think I always felt that Tennessee Williams was much more embedded in his need and desire to write and to try to replicate a certain type of life and part of him inside on stage. And yes, he was competitive, but not as a direct way. I mean, as Truman said, he was, jealous if somebody even mentioned,
A
something that
teacup,
he
right?
wanted to have.
Yeah.
Yes, he would go
Hmm.
back into the store and buy it himself. And, I think that they were very different personas, okay, in a
Hmm.
certain way, and that there was something about the character. I felt that, you know, Truman was as competitive with many, many people. And, this was a small world back then. So the
Hmm.
theater world, the writers' world, I mean, this was, they had jealousy and friendships that overlapped in all parts of the world because, that's how they kind of traveled back then. I mean, they had
Yeah.
this whole sense of internationalism. But, it did work. The difference is that Truman really put it down on paper in a very different way. And in
Hmm.
Unspoiled Monsters, in one of his chapters from Answered Prayers, he was very
Hmm.
vocal about the character that was based on Tennessee Williams. But there was this wonderful Tennessee Williams scholar by the name of Thomas Keith who shared with me a letter that Tennessee wrote to Truman after he got over the fact that he was insulted in that letter. And he just told him that he says, I want you to know that I care about you more than you know. And it's important. And he knew that Truman wasn't well, and he says like it's important that you give to your being the care that your talent deserves of you. So he was always the higher person, the
Mm.
better person, Tennessee
Yeah.
Williams. And I don't think this letter would have come from Truman Capote.